What if I told you there was an NHL player who became one of the greatest defensive forwards in hockey history, a player who became a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, a 5-time All-Star, and a Hall of Famer? This player is, of course, none other than Marian Hossa. Take a quick moment to subscribe as we push toward 10,000 subscribers. These stories require countless hours of research to bring you the untold history of hockey's greatest players. To find out how Marian Hossa was able to become a shutdown defender, we need to go back to Trenčín, Slovakia in the early 1990s. Throughout this time, Hossa and his brother Marcel were training under the watchful eye of their father František, who was a former professional hockey player and coach of the local team Dukla Trenčín. František instilled in Marian's head that positioning and anticipation were far more valuable than constant high-energy skating. This resonated with Hossa, and he immediately started using this hockey ideology throughout his youth hockey days. He found immense success using this method, even helping Slovakia win silver at the 1999 World Junior Championships. Although NHL scouts were impressed by his offensive abilities, they saw a European forward and wrote him off as another one-dimensional scorer, except for Ottawa Senators scout John Ferguson, who stated, "I truly believe this kid would be the most complete player in the draft if he could put on some muscle and learn our North American system." Ferguson would later recommend the Senators take him 12th overall in the 1997 NHL entry draft, and sure enough, once they were on the clock, Hossa became a member of the Senators organization. This was a surreal moment for him, as he always dreamt about making it to the NHL, but at 18 years old, there was still a long journey ahead of him to adapt to North American hockey, and it all started with the WHL's Portland Winterhawks. This was a long way from his hometown of Trenčín, and was also his first time away from Slovakia for an extended period of time. So, despite showing flashes of brilliance in his first North American season, he couldn't handle the homesickness. He was ready to give up and head back to Europe. That was until his billet family, the Watsons, took him under their wing and made sure to help him during times when he felt isolated. They did this by taking him sightseeing and helping him improve his English. I learned so much off the ice. I pretty much learned how to live in North America. I mean, you have to adapt to your new environment, and I learned all the do's and don'ts. With this more grown-up approach, he was able to stick around and fight through his desire to return home, and as we all know, it was a good thing he did. But before that, he was still fighting his way up the Senators' depth chart, hoping to get a chance. Then, after a strong showing in the WHL playoffs, he was called up to make his NHL debut with the Senators in 1998, something he'd been working towards his entire life. I mean, here I am in the NHL. I couldn't ask for anything better right now. His first start came against the Montreal Canadiens, a team he watched on TV growing up, and on this cold winter night, he showed no mercy. He scored his first NHL goal against the Canadiens, followed by another goal in the very next game against the Florida Panthers. Momentum from these performances carried over throughout the season, and Hossa finished his rookie year with 15 goals and 15 assists, making him a finalist for the Calder Trophy. But at the end of the day, regular season success only matters so much. What really counts is playoff performance, and in his first postseason appearance, Hossa and the Senators were swept by the Buffalo Sabres. After finishing the year with mixed results, he knew he needed to make a change and fast. This meant completely rethinking his approach to defense. Over time, Hossa developed a more patient defensive game, learning when to make a play and when to hold back. I think that's probably been the biggest difference. Whatever it may have been, it worked, and he was rewarded with his first 30-goal season in 2001. It was the breakout most were anticipating from Hossa. For him, it was an impressive demonstration of how, if he put his mind to something, he could achieve anything he wanted in hockey. So, with this mindset, he shifted his focus to the 2002-03 season. Now being the bona fide star of the team, alongside Alfredsson, his goal was clear: bring the Senators their first Stanley Cup. It wasn't going to be an easy task, especially with their division rivals, the Toronto Maple Leafs, always standing in their way, but he put his head down and got to work, maliciously attacking opponents month after month, scoring 45 goals and adding 35 assists while leading the league with a +45 rating. his efforts helped the Senators to a first-place finish in the Northeast Division and the best record in the NHL. With their sights now set on postseason action, they dreamt of hoisting the Stanley Cup in Ottawa, something they hadn't been able to do since, well, ever. But with Hossa on the ice, they believed anything was possible. Well, everyone except the Maple Leafs. Hossa tried his best, scoring 5 points in the 7-game series, but Toronto prevailed again, sending Ottawa home early despite their first-place finish. The loss stung, but Hossa's reputation as a defensive forward was growing. In fact, coach Jacques Martin, the same one who had coached him earlier in his career, now regularly matched him against the opposition's top lines. It was written in the stars for Hossa to steer his team to victory, but in Ottawa, he couldn't help but let the boat sink. It became clear that a change of scenery was needed, which is why in 2005, he was traded to the Atlanta Thrashers. This fresh start seemed to reinvigorate Hossa as he put up the best statistical season of his career in 2006-07, scoring 43 goals and 57 assists for 100 points. He was one of only 7 players to hit the century mark that season, putting him in elite company alongside Sidney Crosby, Joe Thornton, and other NHL superstars. Everyone around the sport was in awe of Hossa because what he was doing on the ice had never been done before, and it was all thanks to his playing philosophy, that being never to chase the puck carrier frantically, but rather to anticipate passes and use his long reach to intercept. This allowed him to steal pucks so well that they would look safe on an opponent's stick before suddenly ending up on Hossa's. He was the best to ever create this illusion of safety before striking. So it comes as no surprise that during this period, it seemed like whenever he was on the ice, he physically couldn't be scored against. It was this elite control of his defensive positioning, which is why Marian Hossa is heavily regarded as one of the greatest two-way forwards of all time. Yet, leading up to the 2008 playoffs, he never truly found postseason success. Sure, he'd made the playoffs several times, but never made it past the second round. Even after being traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins at the 2008 trade deadline, a team built around Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, Hossa was growing concerned about his lack of championship success. Something needed to change, and that's why there was added pressure facing him as the Penguins entered the 2008 Stanley Cup Finals against the Detroit Red Wings. A defeat would yield yet another season of coming up just short. With this in mind, Hossa got to work. While the Red Wings were able to shut him down for most of the series, he scored a critical goal in Game 5 and nearly tied Game 6 as time expired. Despite his last-second effort, the puck stayed out and Detroit won the Stanley Cup. It was a devastating moment, but Hossa made a surprising decision. Instead of re-signing with Pittsburgh, he joined the team that just beat him, the Detroit Red Wings, on a 1-year deal. "My goal is to win the Stanley Cup," Hossa explained. "I feel like Detroit is the team that gives me the best chance." As you would expect, with him joining the defending champions, expectations were sky high. Hossa delivered, scoring 40 goals in the regular season as Detroit cruised to another playoff berth. After dispatching the Columbus Blue Jackets, Anaheim Ducks, and Chicago Blackhawks in the playoffs, Hossa and the Red Wings were back in the finals. And in an incredible twist of fate, they faced none other than his former team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. This time, though, the result was reversed. The Penguins won the series in 7 games, and Hossa was left empty-handed once again. Down center ice, Sidney Crosby takes the Stanley Cup, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are champions of the hockey world. It was hard to watch. Marian Hossa, one of the best two-way forwards in hockey, was still unable to capture hockey's crown jewel, the Stanley Cup, but Hossa wasn't ready to give up. That summer, he signed with the Chicago Blackhawks, a young team built around Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. The hockey world questioned this move, with some calling him a cup chaser, but Hossa proved them all wrong. The 2009-10 season saw Hossa form perfect chemistry with his new teammates, and when the playoffs arrived, Hossa was determined not to feel that same heartbreak again. When the Blackhawks reached the Stanley Cup Finals against the Philadelphia Flyers, Hossa played some of the best defensive hockey of his career. In Game 6, with the Blackhawks leading the series 3-2, Patrick Kane scored the overtime winner, securing Chicago's first Stanley Cup since 1961. This is awesome, you know? This is what it's all about. You want to be a champion, and you never know what it's going to feel like until you are. But this is great. It took me 3 tries, but we're happy. We're happy for these fans, and happy everybody came out here to celebrate with us. 2010 was, without question, the peak of Hossa's Stanley Cup achievements, but he continued to anchor the Blackhawks' top lines over the next few years. From 2010 to 2015, he was a key part of Chicago's core. helping the team capture 2 more Stanley Cups in 2013 and 2015. Hossa became the anchor of the team's penalty kill and was frequently used to protect leads late in games, with coach Joel Quenneville saying, "When we need a big defensive play, Hossa is the guy I look for every time." So, when his career came to an unexpected end in 2017 due to a skin condition called eczema that was aggravated by his hockey equipment, it left a significant void in Chicago's lineup. Hossa retired with 525 goals and 609 assists for 1,134 points in 1,309 games. He finished his career with a plus 245 rating, a testament to his strong two-way play. Hossa's impact on the game of hockey was substantial. While offensive forwards such as Alex Ovechkin were seen firing pucks past their opponents, Hossa went for a more controlled approach, opting to prioritize positioning and anticipation rather than pure offensive numbers. He was one of the best in NHL history at this skill, known for his ability to strip opponents of the puck and control the defensive side of the game. His 3 Stanley Cups and induction into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2020 cemented his legacy as one of hockey's all-time great two-way forwards. He wasn't the fastest skater, but he carved out a Hall of Fame career with 3 Stanley Cup championships. Hossa revolutionized how teams think about defensive forwards, because whatever he lacked in pure speed or hustle, he made up for with his uncanny ability to read plays and steal pucks through positioning and anticipation. Hossa proved that sometimes the best defense isn't about skating harder, but about skating smarter, being in the right place at the right time. His legacy lives on in today's NHL, where coaches now teach young players to defend like Hossa. These videos take countless hours to research and create. If you enjoy learning about hockey legends like Hossa, please hit subscribe. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers, and your support means everything. Join our community today and never miss another story about the players who changed the game forever.